A local activist opera company that unites art making with civic practice is opening its season with the theme, Voting as Freedom. Whitesnake Project's newest opera is called Is This America? It explores the life of civil rights activist Fannie Lou Hamer and the legacy she left concerning women's rights and voting rights. Here's a look at a rehearsal for the upcoming production.
In every way, the state party has blocked our progress, cutting us off, shutting us out of the democratic process. We want the world to know we are sick and tired. We are sick and tired.
And this year marks 60 years since the protests at the 1964 Democratic National Convention in Atlantic City, where Fannie Lou Hamer raised her voice for recognition of a newly formed political party, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, and to fight for representation and seats at the convention. And joining us today is Mary D. Watkins, composer and librettist of Is This America, and Pascal Florestal, who's directing the opera for Whitesnake Projects. Welcome to you both. Pascal, I want to start with you. For those who are not familiar with Fannie Lou Hamer's life, what parts does this opera touch upon, and what makes her life so remarkable?
You know, it touches upon her entire life, in my opinion. We get to see her as a child and the moments she shared with her family and how she grew up. And then we get to really understand her as an adult and the moment where she decided that she needed to step up for what she believed. And I think that's what's so important about this story. So often we get Fannie Lou Hamer just at the DNC and what she said, but this opera really gets us to see all of who she was and the people who were surrounding her that supported her through her journey.
Now, Mary, a previous production of this opera was called Dark River, the Fannie Lou Hamer story. Did you write anything new for this production with Whitesnake Projects?
Well, we have done that because the original was probably 2 hours long, maybe 2.5 hours long. So a lot has been cut, but there have been a couple of scenes that were added.
We'll have to go see it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, Deborah Nanstill is your lead, and she plays Fannie Lou Hamer.
Yes.
Let's listen to her at one of the rehearsals.
They think they can stop me, but only death can stop me. But I feel the angels of God calling my people to the promised land, fully American.
So, Pascal, tell us a little bit about what Deborah brings to this role.
Deborah brings such an authenticity to bringing Fannie to life. And, you know, I think so much of Mary's beautiful writing makes it so easy for an amazing performer like Deborah to really sink her teeth into this character. From her incredible voice to the ability that she's just so intuitive with the movement. There's a couple moments where she shares with her husband where it's just, you can tell the love that she's able to understand between Fannie and her husband. I think she's just so wonderful at getting to understand those intimate parts of Fannie.
Now, you also have a very talented young performer playing a young Fannie Lou. Her name is Nyla Delgado Martin. She's here with Deborah, who also plays Luella Townsend, Fannie Lou's mother.
There goes the school bus going to the schoolhouse. Look at the whiteys on the school bus.
Come on, girl, we ain't got time to waste. What you looking at?
What is significant for you about Fannie Lou Hamer's early life?
Well, one of the things is that she, the highest grade that she made in school was 6th. She made 6th grade education, but she had this native intelligence, born leader, really. And one of the things it shows is what a child who was supposed to be in school, like the other children, like the white children, was in the fields picking cotton. And I really wanted that to be clear.
Now, Fannie Lou Hamer was mentioned several times at this past August Democratic National Convention. As we said, it's the 60th anniversary of her speech at the DNC. And both in the Mississippi roll call, she was mentioned, and when DNC Chair Jamie Harrison spoke Fannie Lou's famous words from another speech. She said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." So, Pascal, what does it mean to you personally to be staging this opera in this election year?
Honestly, it's unreal. It's surreal. Every time we talk about the show and every time every day passes, it feels like we are not only living in history, but seeing it be made at the same time. And it's been an honor to be able to bring this story to life in this time and to be able to have other people experience it too. I'm hopeful, young people can come and see the history that not only is happening right now in our time, but how much of it is calling back to what we know of the past, and to also honor such an amazing woman like Fannie Lou Hamer, as she should be.
Now, Mary, you've composed other historical musical works, Queen Clara, about Clara Barton,
Yes.
and Emmett Till the opera.
Yes.
Tell us why you chose to use opera as a vehicle
For
this. Yes.
It was the only way to tell a great story. I mean, the people who were involved, the courage, the dignity with which they carried themselves, it had to.
People don't always think of opera in association with a story like Fannie Lou Hamer's.
Right.
Right? So
That's true. And I think people could, there are a lot of people who could appreciate opera a little more if there were subjects that were relevant in their, subjects that, are more relevant in their lives.
for the uninitiated, like myself, who's not a student of opera, tell us, just to give us a little bit of insight as to how you pull that story together and combine it with the song.
Well, I read as much as I could find on Fannie Lou. There were 3 books out that I was able to read and, get a sense of what was going on. And
It's a process.
yeah. And then, of course, I listened to a lot of her videos,
Yes.
or, documentaries. I love documentaries. And then, as I read, I thought the writing was so good, and I would just kind of make musical notes in the columns, and then I'd mark off parts that I really wanted to highlight.
So it's intuitive, really, for you at this point.
It's real organic.
It's organic for you.
Yeah.
Pascal, civic engagement is part of the White Snake Project's mission. What are some of the other ways that you've been engaging the public around voting?
Well, I think, one of the things that we're excited to do with this show is have different conversations around voting and the access to voting. So a lot of what Whitesnake is doing are these conversations around not only the show, but what people need to do and what people need to understand so that they have the ability to vote. So we're actually having a conversation at the Roxbury Library, I believe this weekend, Saturday,
Okay.
Where we're going to have a conversation about not only the show, but the importance of voting and why people need to.
All right, Mary Watkins and Pascal Florestal, thank you both for being here today. Thank you.
you for
Is This
having me.
America is on stage at the Strand Theater for 3 performances, September 20th through the 22nd. And we'll have a link to ticket information on WCVB.com/Cityline.